So, folks, I really am going to preface this segment here with a massive trigger warning because what we're going to be talking about is going to be scary. We're going to be talking a lot about the massive increase of the fascistic state here in the United States. And it's going to involve torture. It's going to involve blood jars. I don't really know how to what specific thing that would fall under, but it's bad. So this is your trigger warning about this segment. But I am gonna say it's really important. So prepare yourselves, but don't click off the video because we have to talk about some pretty chilling stuff that's coming our way. Okay. That being said, and it's always so weird to say this, my editor tells me it helps. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video around. It genuinely helps. But we need to talk about what is happening because one of the number one things that people have been talking about with Donald Trump's budget bill that just passed and was signed into law has been the cuts to Medicaid, devastating cuts that are likely to trigger further cuts to Medicare. And that is horrible. And we've talked extensively about that here on this channel. And it is it's going to be awful. The amount of human suffering you're going to see as a result of that part of the bill. But another part of the bill, and we've talked about this a little bit, but we haven't really talked about what it means, is the massive increase to ICE's budget. ICE alone had their budget raised from around $8 billion to, I believe, almost $40 billion. Like it's a massive increase, you know? And not only that, but overall, if you take a look at the budget for how all border patrol and detention funding has been increased by this bill, it is to the tune of more than the entire budget of Russia's military. And one of the things that we need to reckon with is the fact that that funding has been made available now. Okay? That funding was freed up now. So as we speak, there is a massive influx of cash going into ICE, going into Customs and Border Patrol, going into the various detention facilities that they are trying to build. And it is having a real impact right now. They are aiming on hiring thousands upon thousands of new agents. They are aiming to outfit all of those agents, and they are looking to embed ICE in basically every major city's police department. It is chilling. And, well, they're really leaning into it. You can kind of view the media charm, and I use charm here with air quotes, I hope you could hear them. The charm offensive here that they are putting out is kind of unreal, and it is meant to intimidate you and to scare you. And I'm going to just throw out there, they are doing it by making themselves look like the villains in Steven Spielberg World War II movie. You know, they look like the bad guys in a movie about World War II. Let's take a look at this ad that was released just a couple days ago by Homeland Security.
There's Bible verse.
Let's take a look here.
There's Bible verse I think about sometimes, many times. It goes, "And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us?"
Can roll on for a long time, roll on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Through your rock and hide your hand, working in the darkness, your fellow man. Shirt scarred, made black and white. It's time to talk, be brought to life.
It's honestly like what the dumbest person you know, if they were to imagine like a bad guy in a movie and like what the villains would do in a movie, the dumbest person you know would imagine this. And they just decided, yeah, you know what? Let's do that for our propaganda. You know, it's loser shit. It truly is loser shit. It's not. There's not really any getting around it. But let's take a look here at what some of these people have to say about what they're doing. Okay, let's take a look. This is El Centro Border Patrol Sector Chief Gregory Bovino.
Mayor Bass is on TV, it seems almost every day, saying that the federal government has to leave LA and these operations have to stop. What's your message to her?
The federal government is not leaving LA. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now, because this is going to be normal very soon.
Yeah, they're talking about the occupation of major American cities. These dipshit goons that they are hiring, these two-bit losers that failed out of, getting into the Marines, are being hired out of these white supremacist militias into ICE so that they can LARP as if they're serving the people. Okay.
Well, you may throw your rock and hide your hand, working in the dark against your fellow man. But as sure as God made black and white, what's done in the dark will be brought to the light.
Paladin Lost, thank you for the $10 dono. And more on this guy, Gregory Bovino. Here's a post from him on May 4th, just being a very normal guy. So the border can't be closed quickly. We find your lack of faith disturbing. May the 4th be with you. And it shows, Darth Vader force choking and slaughtering news media. And, just anyone that they dislike. The good guy in his meme is Darth Vader. Just as an FYI, in case you're wondering at the literacy of these moronic ghouls. It's non-existent, just in case you were wondering. And he literally responded to someone pointing that out by saying, I think old Darth had the ultimate situational awareness against threats to the homeland. So do we, which is why our border is the most controlled now than ever before. And he literally is like, actually, Darth Vader is based and cool and the good guy of the film. These people are stupid. He did. Darth Vader did, in fact, kill children. He, in fact, did a genocide in the movie. Darth Vader isn't a good guy. He choked his wife to death. I don't know how you watch those movies and you're like, yeah, the guy who choked his pregnant wife to death, that guy's a real hero. He's got good situational awareness. I want you guys to know that every element of this, our enemies are dipshits. They're morons. They're some of the biggest absolute doofuses you could possibly imagine. They have to dress up because they're LARPing. They have to dress up because they're, at heart, illiterate morons. And otherwise, they couldn't ever inspire any kind of fear in you. And understand, and I do mean this, you are better than them in every conceivable way. Do not let them intimidate you, because they are. I know a lot of people have in the past, there's the Paul Blart Mall Cop movie. And mall cops are a big joke, etc. These guys are lower tier than mall cops. They wouldn't be able to hash it as a mall cop. That's why they have to go and join this. So these people are some of the biggest absolute galoots out there, right? Now, of course, they are going to try and convince you that they have all of the cards and they have all the power, okay? Let's take a look at some of the other propaganda they've been putting out there. This is from the White House account today, actually.
These are foreign terrorists operating on our soil.
We're going to be targeting some extremely violent offenders today.
The American people should know some of the individuals that we picked up.
We're going to be targeting some really violent offenders today. That's why we had to march on that empty field where children at a summer camp were playing, okay? There was potentially some really heavy offenders in that child summer camp, okay? There's some really bad hombres in that children's summer camp.
On these ICE operations, child rapists, child molesters, murderers, convicted arsonists, truly the worst of the worst on the streets.
I'm not going.
You know what's crazy? If that was at all true, then they would just prosecute them in a court of law. They would give them due process and then deport them instead of like having to play tricks and like go stake out courthouses so that they could have the immigration lawyers drop charges and then arrest them as they leave the courthouse. Like if this was true, you'd already have them in custody. There wouldn't be a need to raid like taco stands, man.
Back to Haiti.
ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
They are reporting the worst.
Thanks, Obama, but for real. Like we literally even have a thanks, Obama from the White House.
Of the worst, like they said they would do.
Can we all just agree that when you break
Jesus, it's so loud. I'm sorry.
our law of sovereignty at the border, it counts. It matters.
The White House. We are beyond parody. Like, it's pathetic, you know? And like I see the troll attempts in YouTube chat, and like genuinely you're like, cry harder, and it's like, bitch, do I look like I'm crying? Like, damn, you guys are stupid as fuck. But let's continue looking at what's happening here. This was yesterday from Rapid Response 47, which is the that's when the White House really wants to get a message out fast because they saw something that they liked and they want to amplify it and blast it across the airwaves. Okay, here's Tom Homan, the guy who's basically a thumb that was granted a fairy wish to make it able to talk. Here we go.
Zoran Mondani, the likely next mayor of New York City's promised not to cooperate with you or with ICE or with deportations of any kind. Do you have a plan? Is there a plan to work around that? How are you going to handle it?
I feel like I'm at, we're going to be in New York City, and President Trump said it 2 weeks ago. We're going to double down and triple down in sanctuary cities. Why? Not because we're a blue city or blue state, because we know that's where the problem is.
I can't lie to you guys. I don't think Tom Homan speaks English. Okay? I don't think he actually speaks English because I see him, on television, and he mumbles like a parental figure in a Peanuts cartoon. He literally can't form words. He's not even yapping. He's just wanting. Like, that's what he does. Like, I don't know what happened. Maybe every time right before he goes on camera, his tongue gets stung by a bee. I'm not entirely sure.
We know they're releasing public safety threats and national security threats to the streets every day because they don't honor our detainees. We know that. We don't have that problem like in Florida, where every sheriff in the state's working with us. So
we don't have a bunch of little burger balls.
Like he sounds like a dog that was granted the gift of speech but has a mouthful of peanut butter. Like, what an unfortunate human being. He literally talks like he got kicked in the head by a horse as a child. Like, this is their best guy. This is their best guy. Like, when I'm talking about these people being illiterate morons, this is their best guy. Okay, like he's literally incapable of communicating with anybody. I feel so bad for whoever has to like try and write down whatever he says because, like, damn, you aren't being paid enough. Get a raise. Bro swallowed a box of bees. That's why he looks like that.
where we're going to send our assets, we want to send them where the problem is. Sanctuaries.
Where the problem is. Like, I cannot get over him.
Cities. So I've said it before. We'll flood the zone with sanctuary cities.
Zoran
he but for real though, he is threatening to send armed occupation to major blue cities across America. Okay, that is a real threat. And while I do think he's a giant dipshit, the threat is real, right? The threat is real. Here, by the way, is this is from June 11th, just to kind of give you guys an idea of where things were at last month. Man, I love that MAGA suddenly cares about property damage when it's to like a random convenience store, but not when it happens to the Capitol complex on January 6th. You know, like, oh my God, look at that. They're breaking windows with skateboards. It's so scary. Ignore the time MAGA did that and was also chanting to hang the vice president of the United States. Fuck ice indeed. Just like wow, based. Anyway, yeah, that was supposed to be really scary and bad. Anyway, they want to like try and make that kind of chaos an everyday occurrence in every major city across America, right? That's what they want to do. And one of their premier photo ops to kind of demonstrate, hey, we got the bill passed, we've got all this new money, let's go put the fear of God into LA. You know, the place we're already occupying. Let's do it. Let's do it. So they went to a place called MacArthur Park. Now, some of you might have noticed earlier, a few minutes ago, I mentioned a bunch of children at a summer camp in a park.
We have to figure out a way to punish politicians and voters for all this stuff in the future.
I mean, I don't think we have to punish voters because I think their rural hospitals closing en masse is probably going to punish them quite a bit. But we absolutely need to organize ourselves. Okay. Thanks for the $10 dono, Malin Miller. Really appreciate it. But also, if you thought that was a very specific reference for me to make, well, kids at a summer camp, here's Chris Hayes a couple hours ago. Mayor Karen Bass just told me that there was a kids' summer camp in MacArthur Park when the federal agents in camp and long guns swooped in, and they had to be brought inside so they didn't get completely freaked out. That's right, folks. ICE decided to use their massive new budget to assault a park where there were children playing. You know, the most dangerous place of all. Let's take a look at how they did it, shall we? Just, you know, like let's deploy the giant armored vehicles because, the children may have all been carrying AKs. Who knows? Children playing, the gravest threat to American security one can imagine. Now, obviously, this escalated quite a bit as the day rolled on. Just a mounted rifleman on top of the vehicle, fully deployed to this park again. Safe enough for children to play in until these motherfuckers showed up. It's truly wild. And of course, it wouldn't be ICE if they didn't have a bullshit photo op with their horses. Notice like they're just riding across an empty field with no purpose in particular.
There are videos of them peeing on elementary school buildings.
Yes, ICE agents that were sent out into the field to like try and like bamboozle children into giving up their parents for deportation peed on school campuses, on elementary school campuses. They whipped out their junk and peed on the building, you know, ostensibly while they're trying to protect the children, of course. But I guess Republicans think it's okay if ICE agents, you know, throw their dick around when children are near. It's fine, I guess. Look at, again, all masked. These people are scared little baby men, okay? They're scared fascist fucks. And you know why they're worried? You know why they're so upset and so fastidious about keeping their masks on? Because people in LA, they keep gosh darn identifying them. And it's being really inconvenient for the people who get identified. God, get those animals off those horses. Yeah, it's really cruel to put a pig on top of a horse. It's animal abuse, really. But like, literally, they just walked their horses from one end of an empty soccer field to another for no reason other than to get it on camera to like look like they're impressive and they're doing something. That's because they are finding it really hard to actually arrest anybody. Because what has been happening so far is that they've been relying on undocumented immigrants who are showing up to their court dates. You know, they've been relying on the easiest undocumented immigrants to find so that they can go after them and like get them deported. But the issue is they're running out of easy targets because those undocumented immigrants aren't showing up to their meetings anymore because they know they're just going to get deported by these fucks. And so instead of actually doing any work, instead of actually like, I don't know, serving the public interest, they are left twiddling their thumbs, doing a photo op. And yes, Kiwi TP, they are going to start getting more desperate. However, I would also say there's an asterisk
will not activate the National Guard to help out in criminal because he wants to keep them on the border. Abbott is trash.
Abbott is trash. Letting Texans die so that he can be a better lapdog for the Trump administration. Disgusting. Of course, here we need to take another look at horses, because look at this. Look at the horses doing so much work against all of the nobody in the park. Bunch of LARPing assholes. LARPy pieces of shit. And just throwing this out there. Here is their departure. By the time they left, obviously a bunch of people who were enraged at their presence in the park doing absolutely nothing beneficial for society decided to chase after them and tell them to fuck off, which I highly endorse.
All you motherfuckers are pussy. They're gonna start rioting. You are pussy.
Help the people in Texas. You are not helping by snatching people out of here.
Just wanted to throw that last moment out. Just like, fuck yeah. I don't know who that lady is, but fuck yeah. What a killer final frame for the video. Like, it's so good. It's so fucking good. But I just have to say, like, this needs to happen in every corner of the country. In every corner of the country, there can be no rest for agents of ICE. There can be no relaxation for ICE agents or for the people and companies that work for and alongside ICE. We need to broaden our approach to making sure that, like, any company that does business with ICE is, like, is off the table. They must know that we are furious. Every place in America where these people feel emboldened to act, we need to step up. We need to be able to say, no more, none of this. Okay? And one of the things that I really want to hammer home here is that funding is going not just to ICE, but to all border enforcement activities, including towards building facilities. Many of you have already heard of Alligator Alcatraz, which I think is more appropriately titled a concentration camp. Okay, it is built to concentrate a great number of people in the middle of nowhere, specifically to put them under threat of death. And well, obviously they built it in like a week, and shock of all shocks, it's not going particularly well. Detainees allege inhumane conditions at immigration detention center. Let's take a look here. Cuban reggaeton artist Limzy La Figuera, arrested last week in Miami-Dade on assault charges, was transferred to South Florida's new immigration detention facility known as Alligator Alcatraz in the Everglades, the singer confirmed in a phone call. He and other detainees can claim they are enduring inhumane conditions at the site, including lack of access to water, inadequate food, and denial of religious rights. And, well, let's take a look. What are they doing? There's no water to take a bath. There are over 400 people here. There's no water to take a bath. It's been 4 days since I've taken a bath. He claimed the food at the immigration facility is scarce and unsanitary. They only brought a meal once a day, and it had maggots. They never take off the lights for 24 hours. The mosquitoes are as big as elephants. Other detainees echoed Figuera's concerns, alleging violations of their basic rights. They're not respecting our human rights, one man said in the same call. We are human beings. We're not dogs. We're like rats in an experiment. I don't know their motive for doing this. It is a form of torture. A lot of us have our residency documents, and we don't understand why we're here. A third detainee who said he's Colombian described deteriorating mental health and lack of access to necessary medical care. I'm on the edge of losing my mind. I've gone 3 days without taking my medicine. It's impossible to sleep with this white light that's on all day. He also claims his Bible was confiscated. They took the Bible I had and they said there is no right to religion. And my Bible is the one thing that keeps my faith. And now I'm losing my faith. And Florida authorities have not responded to inhumane condition allegations. So they're just saying nothing. However, the Department of Homeland Security issued a statement via Twitter, of course. It's shameful that the fake news media continues to peddle the false narrative of criminal illegal aliens convicted of rape, homicide, and child sex crimes. ICE has higher detention standards than most U.S. prisons that hold actual U.S. citizens. All detainees are provided with proper meals, medical treatment, and have opportunities to communicate with lawyers and their family members. And, what's interesting about that is you can say that they have higher standards, but do they enforce those standards? Because overwhelmingly, these claims are not limited to just the concentration camp that Florida built in the Everglades using disaster relief money. And this is where one of the other parts of the trigger warning comes in, because this is from a website called Capital and Maine, investigating money, power, and society. With a jar of blood as evidence, detained man tells immigration judge, I am dying little by little. And let's take a look. This is a wild story here, folks. When Jose sat at the table for his turn before an immigration judge in mid-June, he placed a stack of paper towels on the chair and gingerly eased himself down. immigration judge George Najar appeared on a video screen on the wall in the courtroom inside Otay Mesa Detention Center in San Diego, as did the attorneys representing Jose and the U.S. government. As the judge and Jose's attorneys went back and forth about the status of Jose's case, Jose, who is not being fully identified due to retaliation concerns, raised his hand to speak. Neither the judge nor the attorneys noticed. As the judge wound down the hearing, Jose broke his silence. "I have something to explain to the judge about what is happening to me," he said in Spanish. "I have cancer, and I'm really suffering. There's no medical treatment here. I'm bleeding every day." He pulled out a jar of bright red blood and set it on the table in front of him. Many of the people in the courtroom gasped in unison. "This is the proof I have," Jose said. "This is the blood I've lost today." I mean, like, it's really bad. And of course, many of these detention facilities are not, in fact, held to the high standard that DHS is trying to claim, because they are run and overseen by private corporations. In Jose's case, he is being held in a Core Civic facility, okay? Core Civic runs the Otay Mesa Detention Center, and ICE has not responded to request for comment, oddly enough. Core Civic said that Jose is being regularly monitored and that his needs are being addressed. And well, let's get into that a little bit. Medical records from Kaiser Permanente show that Jose went to a Los Angeles emergency room in April 2024, where doctors documented rectal bleeding and anemia, among other health concerns. The doctors tried to hospitalize him, but because no beds were available, they eventually sent him home, instructing him to follow up with a colonoscopy as soon as possible, according to the records. Soon after, Jose was arrested near Tecate, California, after picking up a fellow Guatemalan man who didn't have permission to be in the U.S., according to court records. He was taken to the Otay Mesa Detention Center in the custody of the U.S. Marshals Service. Jose said he told staff at the facility about his condition when he entered, but he never received the treatment he needed. And Jose then pleaded guilty to one felony count of transportation of certain aliens. The court records show the judge sentenced him to time served and waived his fine, but when he was released from criminal custody, he ended up in ICE custody and was taken back to the same goddamn facility, because that's what ICE does now. ICE just like waits outside of courtrooms for anyone who looks brown enough to arrest. That's it. Now, at the court hearing in mid-June, Judge Najar asked the attorney representing ICE why Jose wasn't getting medical treatment. ICE attorney Christine Rutherford told the judge that the agency was waiting for Core Civic to assess whether it could provide their requested care or whether he would need to be transferred to another detention facility. And Jose asked Najar whether the judge would be willing to release him to get treatment, and the judge saying, "I can feel it in my body. I am dying little by little." Because of Jose's criminal conviction, Najar said the law requires him to be detained, and that there was nothing he could do. And the judge is on record saying, "I don't lack sympathy for you. I just don't have any authority to do anything about it. I don't have any authority to do what you want." At another hearing 2 weeks later, Najar again asked the ICE attorney for information about Jose's medical treatment and learned that Core Civic had scheduled a colonoscopy for Jose, but the attorney didn't know when. So 2 weeks later, still no medical care for a man who pulled out a jar of blood during his immigration court proceedings. Najar told Jose and his attorney that they would have to go to federal district court if they wanted to push for more care, that the issue was out of his hands. At the end of the hearing, Jose told the judge that he was dizzy. As soon as the hearing ended, a guard came to escort him to the medical unit, but according to Jose's wife, the staff did little for him there, and he ended up back in his unit the same as before. On Thursday, I believe this is now last week, Jose had a bond hearing to request that he be allowed to pay to get out of detention as a promise to show up in court. Essentially, he's asking, can I please give you guys money to get out of here so that I can go get the medical care I need? That essentially, he's just asking, can I bribe the government to get out of prison to go to a hospital? As he waited on a bench before that hearing, Jose asked the detention facility guard if he could leave the courtroom to get a drink of water. He said he wasn't feeling well. He moved slowly, clearly in pain. As immigration judge Guy Grand progressed through the afternoon cases, Jose didn't return. A guard's voice could be heard in the hallway, trying to convince him to go to the medical unit, but Jose insisted on remaining for his hearing. When he came back into the courtroom for his turn, he was in a wheelchair, doubled over in apparent pain. His attorney argued that even though his criminal conviction made him subject to mandatory detention, the U.S. Constitution should allow him to be released because holding him without treating his medical conditions was inhumane. The ICE attorney, Jonathan Grant, argued that Jose had to be detained because of his criminal conviction. He said that CoreCivic staff reported on June 11th that Jose does not have a confirmed diagnosis of colon cancer. He added that Jose would have a colonoscopy in August. Now, guys, I don't know if you guys know a whole lot about colon cancer, but if you're bleeding profusely from your butt, and you have to wait multiple months to get that checked, that could be a death sentence. You know? Grand agreed that with ICE that Jose would remain in custody without bond. Jose raised his hand to try and speak, but the judge told him to direct his questions to his attorney. Jose shook his head weakly as the judge moved on to another case. The hearing had lasted 16 minutes. A guard wheeled Jose to the door. His head was lowered to the side. Though his wheelchair stayed in the door for a couple minutes, he did not look up. These types of conditions are widely prevalent in ICE detention facilities, especially in the privatized ones. Because guess what? In the privatized ones, they don't want to give prisoners health care. It costs them money. So what better thing to do than just not give them health care? You know, that way you can pass on the profits to the shareholder. This is going to become more and more common here in America. More and more common. And I mean, it's gonna get worse. And understand all of this, every single bit of it is predicated on the lie that like tens of millions of undocumented immigrants came into the country under Joe Biden. It's just not true. It's just not true. You'll hear Republican politicians make this claim like 20 million undocumented immigrants came in under Biden. It's just not true.
This is the point of alligator Auschwitz. It's a death camp.
Yes. I mean, no, not yet. It has all of the capacity to be. Every single one of these facilities, especially the ones that are going to be built from here on out, are essentially have the capacity. There are claims over and over and over again in Republican media, in Fox media, Fox News. You can find countless claims. 20 million under Biden, 20 million under Biden, 20 million under Biden. And it's just not true. They massage the data. It's all based on undocumented immigrant encounters. They just translate every encounter ICE has with an undocumented immigrant and say, oh, that's one more immigrant coming into the country. It's just, that's not how the numbers actually work. And again, like the idea is that like somehow these undocumented immigrants who are coming here and paying taxes and receiving none of the benefits are a drain on society as they work jobs and contribute to their communities and build lives here, raise children here. It's all lies. It's like, it's their big lie. And folks, if you are going to go protest ICE, or if you are, happen to be of a persuasion that might be targeted by ICE, something to be aware of. ICE is now using facial recognition technology called Mobile Fortify. Okay? It is being used in the field. They are actively doing it. You may have noticed, in fact, in the footage here. You may notice here, and I think it's easier to tell as the camera gets closer, this guy right here with the camera. They're trying to identify all of these people who are protesting. So make sure you are, obviously taking precautions. I would suggest, and I don't have the technology wherewithal to do this, but dig into what kind of system Mobile Fortify is and figure out what makes it tick so that you can protect yourself from the misuse of this technology. Okay?
Even if there were 50 million immigrants, this would still be evil. Everyone please be safe.
Yeah, there's no justification for the concentration camps we're building. There's no valid justification for a concentration camp ever. Now, let's talk a little bit about what we can do, right? Because obviously this is very scary, and I think we all need to understand that this is going to be everywhere soon. This is not limited to just LA. This is coming to you whether you live in New York, whether you live in Baltimore, whether you live in Dallas, whether whatever city you live in, every major city in the country, and hell, even some smaller ones, you're going to see ICE agents. You are going to see people being detained by ICE and CBP, okay? So you need to start thinking how you are going to help, okay? What are you going to do? And it's not just like, oh, what are you going to do as if you're like some kind of Superman and you can fix it. You can't, but you can work together with other people and collectively you can do something about it, okay? Now, you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, hey, what are my skills? What are my abilities? What can I do? What am I good at? Now, one person who did this has been in the news recently, and we're gonna take a look here at an interview with this man, and he's been doing the rounds over the last week or so. But he created an app called ICE Block, which allows local communities to report ICE sightings in their local area, identify where ICE is active, and alert other people in their community. Let's take a look.
When I saw what was happening in this country, I wanted to do something to fight back.
Joshua Aaron developed ICE Block. It's a free, crowdsourced app that alerts
Jesus, why is it so loud?
Users when immigration and customs enforcement agents are...
This is so frustrating. We are doing the kinds of things that will be apologized for in 20 to 50 years. When we could just stop it now. Got in a fight with someone day saying how dare I act like I'm better for having eyes.
Nah, yeah, like, Media Breakdown, thank you for the $20 super chat. And also, now is the time to start getting into fights about this shit. Like, now is the time to start stepping on toes, start being inconvenient, and to start finding like-minded people so that we can organize against this shit, because frankly, it is going to be on all of our doorsteps soon, whether or not we like it. Whether or not we stick our head in the sand, it is going to be visible, it is going to be present, and it's going to, if it catches us unprepared and unaware, it's going to screw us. It is going to destroy our communities. These dipshit LARPy cops, they are going to try and make our lives a living hell by hiding behind their badges. And you need to be able to organize. You need to be able to know your rights. You need to be able to help others in your community, keep one another safe, because they are coming after all of us. It doesn't matter if you are a citizen, if you are a green card holder, if you are someone who is documented or undocumented, it does not matter. They are going to be your problem. So you have to look around and find the organization in your community, the people in your community who are stepping up and who are going to be useful allies when shit hits the fan, because it's already up in the air. It's making its way to the fan to send it everywhere. Okay?
Spotted within a 5-mile radius of their location.
Will you just sort of explain what ICE Block is and how it works?
Sure. So imagine if you're walking down the street and a notification comes up on your device that says ICE has been spotted 4 blocks ahead. Instead of continuing down that path, you can turn left or turn around and avoid the situation altogether.
Aaron grew up Jewish and has a background in tech, music, and activism. He says he sees parallels between the Trump administration's immigration crackdown and Nazi Germany.
We're literally watching history repeat itself. And so I thought, what if there was an early warning system? And that's what became ICE Block.
I'm looking at LA now. I'm seeing one in East Hollywood. And then as I zoom out, it's showing me a few others.
One of the core principles of the design of this app is 100% anonymity for our user base. As of today, we have 20,000 users. We're hoping to grow that 10 or 100 times, of course. But there is no sign-up process. There is no user data collected. There's no user data even captured by our app.
Do you have a way of verifying the accuracy of the reports that people are making on the platform?
We don't, but what we've done is put some safeguards in place so that people can't, for lack of a better word, spam the database. Every report.
Also, just as a heads up, you can download this on the App Store. You know, you can go download this right now. It is publicly available.
Reported sighting is deleted in 4 hours time, is you can only report within a 5-mile radius of your own location. Beyond that, we have a 5-minute limit. So when you report a sighting, you can't report another one for 5 minutes.
CNN reached out to ICE for comment about the app and Aaron's characterization of its enforcement actions. The agency did not respond.
We have also seen the way that many big tech leaders have supported Trump, donated to him, showed up at the inauguration. But what you're doing is challenging the policies of the Trump administration. And I wonder what you would say to the other leaders and your colleagues in this industry.
I think I would say grow a backbone. You can't just be about the money. I understand that you have shareholders to report to. I understand that you have employees that need their paychecks. But at what point do you say enough is enough?
At what point do you say enough is enough, chat? Now, the app is only available on the iStore, the Apple Store. Largely because the Android device just is too permeable. Too much information can be retrieved. It can be fucked with a little bit too much. And so, yes, it is only for Apple at the moment. I imagine there might be some way to run it in other ways. But if you go to the Ice Block website, it has a full rundown of hey, why? What are we doing? And it includes a word of caution. We have noticed unauthorized distribution channels offering what appears to be an Android version of IceBlock. Please be advised that these are not sanctioned by us. We only recommend downloading IceBlock exclusively from the Apple App Store, as that is the only place it is available. If you try and download it to Android, be aware that you might be downloading some pretty predatory software. You know, so don't use Android IceBlock. Get the app on an iPad or something. You know, a lot of people have devices like that. Just figure out a way you can get it, and you can be helpful in your community. All right. Hell, even find a secondhand secondhand iPad or Apple device and make it work. Okay. Worth pointing out, the Apple Store is also known to be compromised. Literally everything is known to be compromised. All I'm saying is that if you want the part that isn't full of viruses or whatever, or is in the worst case directing your information and the information of others directly to ICE, you can get it on the Apple Store. Obviously that there are going to be problems with literally every way you can possibly organize against what's happening, but we need to figure out ways, and we need to figure it out fast. That it's simple as there's not going to be any way of doing this without some risk to yourself, and you have to figure out exactly how much risk you are willing to take. And if the answer is none, then I got bad news for you. You don't really get a choice. We're all in some degree of risk as this goes forward. Yeah, Curly Dorothy, that is exactly correct. If you're not willing to take a lesser risk now, you will be forced to take a greater risk later. Exactly. I would also, we're also going to take a look at this.
New protests against ICE raids are popping up across the country. In Portland, Oregon, a smoky scene outside a local ICE office. Protesters were in the streets until the early morning hours today. In downtown Los Angeles, hundreds spent their 4th of July skipping fireworks and picnics to rally outside the federal building. They're protesting ongoing immigration raids and the $170 billion that will now be going to ICE as part of President Trump's spending bill. And here in Washington, D.C., a group of demonstrators spent their 4th of July marching, carrying signs saying, "We are not okay." Joining us now is Joshua Aaron, the developer behind a new app called IceBlock, which allows people to share information about ICE sightings in their area. Josh, you launched this app back in April, and it encourages users to, quote, see something, tap something when they see ICE agents nearby. Can you explain how the app works and why you wanted to create it?
Absolutely. So I wanted to create it because when I saw what was happening in this country after reading Project 2025, after watching Trump's first administration, and certainly hearing his campaign rhetoric on the trail for the second, I had to do something.
Jesus Christ, guys! Like I understand. Like any device can get hacked. I understand the concept. All I'm trying to tell you guys is not to download like a viral package. Don't download viruses. Don't like download scamware. Download at the very least the thing that the developer is saying is the thing you are trying to download. Like, for fuck's sake, guys. I understand, but also like we have to do shit. We have to do things. So I don't care if you use this app or not, but figure out what you're gonna do.
Fight back. And, you know, being raised in a Jewish household and growing up in that community, I had the opportunity to meet Holocaust survivors and learn all about the history of Nazi Germany and Hitler's rise to power. And when we see 5-year-olds in courtrooms without representation, when we see college students being disappeared for their political beliefs, and, you know, even worse, when we see babies being ripped from their mother's arms while they're screaming for their children in the name of patriotism in this country, I really think we're watching history repeat itself. And, you know, Ice Block was about the best way I could think of to fight back.
So, but on that note, I'm wondering, you know, does the app encourage anyone to do anything illegal?
Absolutely not. Our whole thing is inform, not obstruct. In fact, multiple times throughout the app, it says,
like, Jesus, guys, I'm so sorry I didn't read you the entire fucking page of why they wrote they aren't supporting an Android version. Like, goddamn.
For informational purposes only. At no time are we encouraging violence. At no time are we encouraging any kind of interference with law enforcement. The idea of this is if you get a notification and you're walking down the street and it says, hey, ICE has been reported 4 blocks ahead of you, we encourage our users to turn left, turn around, keep yourself and your family safe, and avoid confrontation in the first place.
Well, and obviously it's resonating because the app climbed to the top of the App Store earlier this week. It's got 95,000 listed users as of Monday. Why do you think it's getting so popular so quickly? And is it working the way you intended? Are people doing what you say, you know, just using it to avoid, not engage or cause violence?
Well, Christina, I'm going to correct the numbers there because I'm very happy to report that as of yesterday, we have 541,000 users across this nation. So I can't be happier with the amount of people that have accepted it and are using it, and it's growing every minute. You know, what can I say more than, you know, are they using it the way it should be? Yes, because that's the only way it can be used. This is a reporting tool. This is an early warning system. So in 2 taps, somebody can report an ICE sighting and alert those.
Can you just read a brief history of time out loud for the rest of your streams for the year? Thanks.
I mean, a brief history of time is only like 33 pages. I could probably do that every stream if I need to. Sake Tanuki. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs.
Those around them within a 5-mile radius. So to those who say this app is doxing somebody or this app is going to cause violence against law enforcement, there's literally no way to do that, right? So there's no way to dox somebody in the app because the term doxing is, you know, to reveal personal information about somebody. This is tap on the map. It brings up a sighting sheet already filled out for you. You tap the continue button and you're done.
Well, and I mean, unsurprisingly, the app has gotten some criticism from the Trump administration. Earlier this week, the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons called it out specifically, stating that officers and agents are already facing a 500% increase in assaults. I'm wondering what your reaction is to that statement. That 500 number has risen to 700% with 79 assaults this year versus 10 last year.
Well, you know, that's what they say. I don't have the actual figures, but I did an interview earlier this week, and the numbers were actually quite different. So first they started out with 400%, then it became 500%, now it's 700%. Maybe next week it'll be 5,000%. The way I heard the numbers was it was 41 assaults over the past 4 years, with some of those including such horrible things as brushing up against an officer with your forearm or patting them on the back. So I think it's more fear-mongering than anything else. I think they want to scare people into not using the app so that they can continue their mission.
Pretty sad that people have to make ICE alerts, but the feds refuse to do flood alerts. It's always jobs, 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 but never lives, lives, lives. It's not even jobs, jobs, jobs. They keep cutting the jobs. They cut hundreds of thousands of government jobs, including people who would alert about floods.
To hurt our immigrant friends and neighbors.
Josh, are you not concerned that the administration might come after you personally for the development of this app?
I think whenever you push back against a regime that is purporting authoritarianism, pushing fascism, and subverting the rule of law in our Constitution, if you push back against them, you have to know they're going to come after you in some way. And I say, go ahead, come after me. You can demonize me all you want. You can demonize the app all you want. But the reality is it's protected speech under the First Amendment. There's nothing illegal about creating this app, and there's nothing illegal about using the app. We are not purporting violence against anybody. This is simply an early warning system. And if your viewers liken it to something easy to understand, think of Waze or think of Apple Maps. When you can report a speed trap up ahead, what do? You slow down when you see that warning. And this is the same kind of thing. So if you see a warning that ICE has been cited, just turn around and keep yourself and your family safe.
All right, Joshua Aaron, thank you for joining.
Like genuinely just like a good dude. Genuinely just like a guy who saw that, hey, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at making apps. This is what I can do. And then he did it. And that's all any of us need to do. Okay? That's all any of us need to do. What are you good at? Are you good at cooking food? Are you good at making signs? Are you good at printing stickers? Are you good at yelling profanity? Are you good at, taking pictures? Are you good at, what are you good at? Figure it out and then connect with other people in your community. There are other groups out there. There are groups out there that organize around stuff like this. Do you make music? Fuck yeah. We need more revolutionary troubadours. Okay? Get out there and make that happen. Because what's on its way right now, folks, is fascism. They aren't that part of the reason, right? ICE in LA is doing their limp-dicked, public anti-relations, photo shoots and video shoots is because they need time to scale up their operations to go after more people. And that is going to happen in every city in the country. Y'all, we need to take this seriously. It's not just oh yeah, that's happening. Oh well. There are real stakes here. For you, for people you love, for your family, for your neighbors, for your coworkers. And understand that what we are up against is fascism. You cannot afford to be alone and without allies. As things continue to deteriorate, and they are going to deteriorate. I feel like I'm going crazy because I feel like I do this show day after day, and a lot of people just don't get it yet. A lot of people just don't seem to understand the tsunami of shit that is headed our way. You are only powerless if you embrace your powerlessness and try and go it yourself. Go it alone. Because our power is not in ourselves. Our solo selves, it is in our collective selves. I wanted to share with you guys this thread from Chad Loader over on Blue Sky, which I thought had some good insight on what is happening right now in LA and what we need to prepare ourselves for in other parts of the country. ICE's show of force today in Los Angeles is grim but largely symbolic. They'll kidnap fewer people today than average. We knew they were planning something because of their operational tempo slacked from July 4th through the 6th. Community members got to MacArthur Park hours ahead of time to warn residents. This public spectacle is meant to be a shock and awe campaign, as if a few thousand soldiers can subdue the second largest city in the US. It took them millions of dollars and 3 weeks to plan this, all for the equivalent of a military parade to satisfy one man's ego. They're desperate. ICE and DHS cannot move around Los Angeles undetected. Their every move is transparent, from the hotels where they sleep to their morning briefings to their 3-vehicle convoys entering neighborhoods. An entire megacity of 13 million people has awoken against them. They are slow and clumsy. ICE has had to adapt their tactics to avoid getting trapped and surrounded the way they did in Paramount and Bell. ICE uses small vehicle teams, 3 to 4 unmarked rental vehicles with 2 agents each. They do quick raids, grabbing 1 or 2 people at a time. Each team has the capacity for only 8 prisoners. Once an ICE vehicle team fills their prisoner capacity, they have to cease kidnapping and drive to the nearest prisoner transfer staging area. Prisoner transfer stages 3 to 5 Ford Transit vans for 2 hours under freeway overpasses in secluded parking lots. Their spots get blown, they have to move. DHS and ICE's popularity are in an all-time low. ICE's suppliers are being actively boycotted. Universities are divesting from DHS's grant and recruiting programs. Their agents are being de-anonymized. ICE is sending professional video crews out on ops like today to try and create PR videos. ICE is fighting and losing a classic low-grade insurgency in LA. The administration has to appear strong. The people do not. And understand that, like, what we need to have ready in our communities, and I don't know where in your community specifically you can find this type of organization. You may need to create your own, okay? But a good place to start is your local Democrats, your local DSA, your local Working Families Party, okay? Organizations in your local area that are on the ground, that are in the community, and that are able to work together and coordinate. Because what needs to happen is that coordination, is that cooperation. Because what happened in LA could be devastating in a smaller city, in smaller cities with larger ICE presences. And my guess, if I had to make one, is that as ICE expands, it's going to focus on smaller, blue cities in order to try and refine its targeting tactics. Y'all need to start thinking very seriously about what you are going to do, who you are going to work with, and you need to start pursuing those partnerships now. If you are in your local DSA and you guys are kind of like at a loss or you're too small, look around your area and figure out what groups on the ground are capable of organizing in this way. Okay? Because I guarantee you, regardless of the kind of community you're in, there are going to be organizations in that community that are going to be highly coordinated already and capable of helping you if you can get them on your side and willing to work with you. Yet there are going to be local immigration rights groups, local homeless shelters, food shelters. There are going to be organizations that pitch in to help with those. You can maybe reach out to those networks, but you are going to have to figure out. You're going to have to find your people. Look for the helpers. How much will ICE terrorize a red/purple town? Probably not much. Their efforts are likely going to be focused primarily on the political opponents of the Trump administration. Donald Trump was on camera just a few days ago talking about how he's going to work out a deal between farmers and their workers so that the farmers will own the workers and have responsibility for them if they are undocumented, effectively recreating and enforcing a plantation system. There's going to be minimal policing of that. But y'all need to be aware that this is happening. You need to take it seriously because this is coming. And I'm deeply worried about where this is all going to go. This is the rise of our Gestapo. And we must stop it here before it becomes worse. Because right now, today, they are targeting undocumented people primarily. But they're also picking up people with green cards. They're also picking up naturalized citizens or calling for their deportation. And it is only a small heartbeat away from them doing the same to US citizens. So we are not in a place of safety, any single one of us. Which side are you on, chat? Which side are you on?
Suburbs in Cali could be totally devastated by ICE, large Hispanic populations, cops more often more directly complicit than even LAPD, very atomized.
Exactly. This is why I've been saying over and over and over again, regardless of where you are, regardless of what you think your socioeconomic status is, you need to start organizing today. If you're in an isolated area in rural America or suburban America, if you don't know your neighbors in urban America, you need to get working on that. You need to figure out and find your group. It is super important that you do so. And if you're in an urban area, again, download IceBlock. It seems like a pretty good app. Sooner or later, revolt will take to the streets, I believe. Tyranny must not stand. Free people must oppose it. And I agree. However, revolt and revolution don't just come out of the ground. They are born of organizing. So if you want to be safer in the future, if things get worse and continue to deteriorate, you have to start organizing today. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Yes, we have been over the fact that IceBlock is a good app and it's only available on iOS. We have been over that. People got real butthurt about it. It's fine.
I'm learning the Swedish language to try and get fluent and hoping that in the coming years I can get an opportunity to move to Sweden. I want to integrate into Swedish society to get citizenship. And revoke my US citizenship.
Oh God, revoke, like relinquishing your US citizenship is hard as fuck. Best of luck, Malin Miller. Thank you for the $20 super chat though. I just moved and I'm friends with my neighbors on both sides of the house. That is an excellent start, Brutus Magnuson. I remember the tech side of Blue Sky got real weird about IceBlock only being on iOS. Like, I don't know. I guess if my reaction to that is just like, if you're getting real weird about IceBlock only being on iOS, make your own IceBlock version on Android with, blackjack and hookers. Make it better.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.